If you're here watching this video, it's not by chance. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more content like this. And follow me if you want to keep receiving tips and other important information about your health. Picture this. Right at the moment you started listening to this sentence, another American just got the diagnosis of type 2 diabetes. Before I finish this opening, 3 more will get it. By the time this video ends, more than 100 people across the country will have found out that their blood has literally turned into a broth that's too sweet for the body to handle. And the scariest part is what that sweet blood does on the inside without telling anyone. It slowly cooks the blood vessels for decades. It clogs up the tiny filters in the kidneys. It burns the nerve endings in the feet. It blurs the retina of the eyes. All silent, all painless, until the day the pain shows up and there's no turning back. But I need you to understand something before anything else. Your body didn't abandon you. Your body has allies. Allies sitting at the farmer's market, at the grocery store, in your neighbor's garden, in the little spice jar inside your kitchen. Foods that, when you put them in your mouth and chew, literally start eating the sugar that's wandering through your blood. That sweep the glucose out of your vessels the way a broom sweeps dust off the floor. I've been a doctor for almost 20 years, and one of the things that impresses me the most in my daily practice is the power food has to change the course of a life. I see it every week in the office. Patients who walk in with their hemoglobin A1C through the roof, scared, and who in 3, 4, 6 months, with targeted changes in their diet, come back with lab results so different, you'd swear the lab mixed up the samples. And today, I'm going to walk you through 7 foods that science has already confirmed act like metabolic cleanup crews. I'll introduce them in rising order of power, from number 7, which is strong, all the way to number 1, which I consider the true guardian of blood sugar. Stick with me till the end, because number 1 is a plain, cheap food that is in your kitchen right this second, and most diabetics have never known how to use it the right way. But first, I need to be straight with you. None of these foods replaces the medicine your endocrinologist prescribed. None of them is some miracle cure. What the science shows with solid evidence is that when these foods become a consistent part of your routine, the need for medication can drop, your A1C can go down, and your energy can come back. But any change in dose, any tweak in treatment, has to go through your doctor. That's a rule that never changes. 56 years old, a fantastic home cook, born and raised in Knoxville, Tennessee, mother of 4, grandmother of 7. She walked into my office on a Tuesday with an A1C of 10.2 and red, teary eyes. She looked at me and said, "Doctor, I do everything right. I take my medicine on time and the sugar just won't come down." When I pulled her food diary, I got it. Margaret ate, yes, but she ate the wrong things. And what was missing from her meals were exactly the 7 foods I'm about to walk you through, starting with number 7 on our list. Number 7 is apple cider vinegar. And I know you've heard of it, but maybe you've never really understood why science takes it seriously. A study published in the journal Diabetes Care, run by American researchers, showed that drinking 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar before a carb-heavy meal significantly reduced the post-meal glucose spike. In people with insulin resistance, the drop was even more striking. The mechanism is acetic acid, which slows down how fast your stomach empties and gets in the way of an enzyme that breaks starch into glucose. In plain English, it's like the vinegar puts a brake pedal on sugar's front door. The glucose that was going to rush into your blood all at once trickles in slowly instead, drop by drop. The pancreas doesn't have to dump a flood of insulin. The blood sugar roller coaster turns into a gentle slope. How to use it? 1 tablespoon diluted in half a glass of water, 15 minutes before lunch or dinner. Never straight, because it eats away at tooth enamel and the lining of the esophagus, and never on an empty stomach if you have gastritis. Think about it. It costs pennies, you already have it, and it works in minutes. Now we're moving up a notch. Number 6 is cinnamon, and here's where the science gets fascinating. Cinnamon contains bioactive compounds that act as insulin mimickers. In other words, they mimic how the hormone behaves and help glucose get into cells. Reviews of clinical studies show that 1 to 2 grams of cinnamon a day, the equivalent of a level teaspoon, can bring down fasting glucose in a measurable way in people with type 2 diabetes. Check this out. It's as if cinnamon were a spare key to the hormone. When your insulin is tired, resistant, cinnamon comes in and opens the little doors of your cells so the sugar can walk in. And just like that, the blood gets some relief. One heads up though, go with Ceylon cinnamon, which has less coumarin, a substance that in large amounts can stress the liver. Sprinkle it on oatmeal, in coffee, in plain yogurt, on baked apples or pears. 1 teaspoon a day. Small amount, real effect. Number 5 is red onion, especially when you eat it raw. I know it sounds odd, but hear me out. Red onion is packed with quercetin and sulfur compounds that improve insulin sensitivity. Studies using onion extract in diabetic patients showed meaningful drops in fasting glucose after just a few weeks of regular consumption. It's cheap, it's everywhere, and it's in every grocery store in the country. In plain English, it's one of the most underrated vegetables on our table. Toss half a sliced red onion onto a sandwich. Layer it on top of a burger. Mix it into a tuna salad. You know what happens? It works on the inside without you even noticing, helping each cell open up to the sugar that's circulating. Before I tell you what number 4 is, I need to ask you something. If this content is helping you, if you're learning something you didn't know before, please tap the like button right now. That simple gesture helps the video reach more people who need this information, especially folks who haven't been diagnosed yet and are walking the edge of the cliff without knowing it. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, do it now and hit the bell and drop a comment telling me which city or town you're watching this video from. I love seeing where this community is growing. Now let's get to number 4. And this is where it gets really interesting. Number 4 is chia and flax seeds, 2 small but incredibly powerful allies for the diabetic. 1 tablespoon of chia has about 11 grams of fiber. 11 grams. That's almost half of what an adult should get in a whole day. When that fiber meets water in the stomach, it forms a thick, sticky gel that wraps around your food and dramatically slows the absorption of glucose in the intestine. Picture a sponge. You pour water on it and it holds it all. The fiber in chia and flax does that with the sugar that was heading straight into your blood. It catches it, releases it, little by little, and protects the pancreas from a shock. On top of that, both of them are rich in plant-based omega-3, which helps bring down the chronic inflammation that rides along with diabetes. How to use them. 1 tablespoon of chia soaked in half a glass of water for 10 minutes, drunk before breakfast. Or golden flaxseed, freshly ground, sprinkled over yogurt, oatmeal, or salad. It's simple, it's cheap, it's a game changer. And here I need to introduce you to Frank. 68 years old, a retired construction foreman, born and raised in Akron, Ohio, a die-hard football fan, and a lover of warm cornbread. Frank came into my office with fasting glucose hovering near 200. When I looked into his routine, it all clicked. Breakfast was white toast with butter and very sweet coffee. Lunch was a white bread sandwich with deli meat and chips. Dinner was instant soup from a can. No fiber, no vegetables, no seeds. I asked Frank to make just one change to start. 1 tablespoon of chia soaked before breakfast and swap the white bread sandwich for a bowl of lentil soup at lunch. 3 months later, his glucose dropped almost 70 points. No new medicine. Just food. Number 3 is legumes. Beans, lentils, chickpeas, black-eyed peas. And here the evidence is truly strong. A Canadian study published in one of the leading cardiology journals showed that adding 1 cup of legumes a day to diabetic patients' diets significantly improved glycemic control and reduced cardiovascular risk in 3 months. Why are legumes so powerful? Because they combine soluble fiber with plant protein and slow-absorbing carbs. It's the complete package. While white rice hits your blood like a flood, beans trickle in like a calm little stream that lasts for hours. The American Diabetes Association recommends that legumes show up in at least 2 of your daily meals. A bowl of lentil soup, a chickpea salad, a serving of black beans on the side, all of those are some of the most diabetes-protective meals out there, especially when paired with whole grains and vegetables instead of refined starches. Practical tip: when you eat rice and beans, do 2 scoops of beans for every 1 scoop of rice. Flip the usual ratio. Add a couple of tablespoons of cooked lentils to your salad 3 times a week. Your gut will thank you. So will your pancreas. Number 2 is dark leafy greens. Spinach, kale, arugula, watercress, collard greens. And I really need you to pay attention here. These greens have almost 0 carbs and they're magnesium powerhouses, a mineral that the overwhelming majority of diabetics run low on. Magnesium is the cofactor in more than 300 enzymatic reactions in the body, including the ones that regulate how glucose gets into your cells. Catch this: people with type 2 diabetes almost always have low magnesium, and people with low magnesium are more likely to develop insulin resistance. It's a vicious loop that starts with an empty plate of green leaves. An important study published in diabetes journals showed that eating leafy greens before the carbs within the same meal significantly blunts the glucose spike after eating. The order of what's on your plate matters. Start with the salad, then eat the protein. Save the rice or potato for last. That simple sequence changes the blood sugar curve of your whole lunch. A generous portion, about the size of a salad plate, at lunch and dinner. Sautéed kale with garlic, steamed spinach, arugula tossed with olive oil. Nothing fancy, real, honest food. And now we've arrived at number 1. I saved the most important for last, because number 1 is a food you have at home right now, costs pennies per serving, and most diabetics ignore completely. Number 1 is rolled oats, and I know it seems obvious, but let me explain why oats are the undisputed champion among foods that fight blood sugar. Oats contain a specific type of soluble fiber called beta-glucan. That fiber is different from all the others. When it hits your stomach, it forms a thick gel that does 2 things at once. First, it slows down the absorption of glucose from the carbs it's traveling with. Second, it grabs LDL cholesterol molecules and drags them out of the body. It's like sending a cleaner with 2 brooms into your intestine. One sweeps the sugar, the other sweeps the cholesterol. Both jobs done in a single pass. Scientific reviews show that regular consumption of oat beta-glucan, about 3 grams a day, reduces fasting glucose, improves hemoglobin A1C, and lowers bad cholesterol. It's one of the most studied foods in the world when it comes to metabolic control. But heads up, here's the trick. Quick oats, the ones that dissolve in a flash in your milk, lose almost all of those properties. Instant oatmeal in flavored packets, even worse, loaded with added sugar that ruins the whole thing. What actually works is rolled oats or whole oat groats cooked into a thick porridge. The recipe I recommend in my office: 3 tablespoons of rolled oats soaked overnight in half a glass of water or plant milk, with 1 teaspoon of cinnamon and 1 tablespoon of chia. In the morning, add a piece of chopped fruit on top, half a banana or a handful of blueberries. Eat it before anything else. That one bowl alone combines 3 of the 7 foods on this list in a single breakfast. It's a blood sugar bomb that fits in a bowl. And what hurts me most as a doctor isn't when a patient shows up with a diabetes diagnosis. It's when they say, "Doctor, I felt these symptoms years ago, but I thought it was just old age. I thought it was tiredness. I thought I just needed more water." I hear that line at least once a week. And every time I hear it, it stings, because all of it could have been avoided with the right food on the plate before the medicine in the cabinet. Let me close with the story of Eleanor, 62 years old, a retired school teacher, born and raised in Asheville, North Carolina, grandmother of 3, in love with her backyard garden. Eleanor came into my office with an A1C of 9.1 and taking 3 medications. We worked together for 6 months. Rolled oats at breakfast, leafy salad before lunch, apple cider vinegar 15 minutes before eating, double the beans, cinnamon in her afternoon yogurt, and a spoonful of chia in a smoothie in the late afternoon. 6 months later, Eleanor's A1C dropped to 6.8. Her endocrinologist cut one of her medications. She looked at me the day she brought in her lab results and said, "Doctor, I woke up with energy for the first time in years. Something shifted on the inside." It's not about medicine, folks. It's about reminding the body how it knows to work when you give it the right tools. Let's run through the 7 metabolic cleaners. Number 7, apple cider vinegar before meals. Number 6, Ceylon cinnamon at breakfast. Number 5, raw red onion in the salad. Number 4, chia and flax seeds. Number 3, legumes at lunch, doubled up. Number 2, dark leafy greens before the carbs. And number 1, rolled oats, the undisputed queen of the fiber that sweeps out the sugar. None of these foods is expensive. None of them is exotic. None of them needs to be imported. All of them are at the grocery store down the street right this second. Your body doesn't need a miracle. It needs consistency. Diabetes isn't a life sentence. It's a cry for help your body has been giving for a long time. And when you put these metabolic cleaners on your plate every single day, you're answering that cry. You're saying, "I hear you. I've got you. I'm not going to let you down." Send this video to that dad who's on metformin and complains about the taste of beans, to that aunt who got diagnosed last year and still eats white toast every morning, to that friend who lives alone and has canned soup for dinner. They need to hear this. This conversation could change the course of their health. In the next video, I'm going to reveal the 5 silent signals your pancreas sends out before type 2 diabetes sets in. Signals that show up on your fingers, on the skin of your neck, in your appetite, even in your sleep. Signals most people ignore for years without knowing what they mean. You're not going to want to miss this one. Take care of your blood. It's the river that carries life into every corner of your body. Keep the water clean, and the whole body blooms.